Hey guys, Jay Massey here, and welcome back to the channel. As you know, from time to time, we do a Q&A session with our members on Tuesdays, and what ends up happening is that occasionally a really good question comes in, and we take the time to share it here with you. Have you ever asked yourself, why would a landlord let me use their property for my short-term rental business? Well, in this particular clip, that's exactly the question that we're going to answer for you. In fact, if you like information like this and you want to make sure that you are at the top of your game as it relates to the sharing economy and leveraging real estate, please go ahead and hit that like button and then definitely hit that subscribe button so that you will know when all of our videos are coming out. So in the meantime, sit back, relax, and enjoy. All right, sir, how can I help?
So we're in acquisition mode, as we all should always be, right?
I know, right?
So we're in the investor community here in Charlotte. Pretty tuned into that, and there's a community of people that know other people. It's just the way the investing world works. And apparently the secret is out. I don't know if it's that phenomenon that you buy a Volkswagen and you start noticing other Volkswagens, or it's just that it's becoming more popular because the barrier to entry and all that kind of thing. But I'm noticing it, and here recently there's been several posts in one of our local groups, and one of them recently was from someone who's a prominent landlord here in our area. And if you're in Charlotte, you probably saw this if you're in the real estate game. But he said, if I wanted to lease out rental properties to Airbnb operators for them to sublet, what increase over market rent could I expect? What is typical for responsibility of repairs, capital expenditures, lease term, insurance requirements, etc. Right? So this is somebody that's been approached with a similar model. And I actually met with this person today to lease one of their properties because I wanted to jump on it. But that's something, the responses to that post ended up being a lot of actually two prominent property management companies that have sprung up here in our area that cater to, quote, Airbnb properties.
Not surprised.
And some of the response to that are, hey man, you can get 3 times the rate and they'll charge you 20%, and that's the way you should go. And so since our model is, hey, we'll offer you market rent and be the best tenants you can ever have,
yep,
which is basically our value proposition. I'm going to use a couple of words that you might not like, but how do you compete with that? How do you how do you convince somebody that maybe you're a better way to go than somebody else, or you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's going to be very relative because here's the difference. The one person is they're trying to leverage, we can get you more money. Period. That is the promise that they're making. And you're saying, I can get you predictable money. Those are two fundamentally different things. Every person is not always after more money. There is nothing wrong if they are after more money. My question becomes, did they actually net more money? Many of the times when I've looked at the companies and the numbers and the individuals who always have the I can get you more money pitch, they don't actually give the owner more money. I've not seen that happen. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying most of the time the owner does not get more money than whatever market rent would have been originally. Okay? Now, both of those pitches work. You have to decide who you're going to be. Here's what I have learned. I got started in real estate in 2008 when it was a mess. And everybody in California anyway, they were doing short sales and they're making $20 and $50 and $110,000 a transaction. And that was all the rage. And people were like, I'm awesome. I'm like, cool. And all I did was collect houses. And it was not sexy. And it's never been sexy. And no one listens until you say, I have a portfolio of over 400 units and cell phone towers and commercial property. And then they're like, excuse me, what? How did you do that? And I'm like, I've been doing this same little boring thing repeatedly. Then they care. Because it was boring, it was systematic, and it was repeatable. You know, like I know, you've had your high months and you've had your low months. And you know what that looks like. You have, and the owner, landlord in this particular case, gets the privilege of deciding what part of the risk they want to take. If they want the model of, hey, I can help you make more money, that also means in months when the building makes less money, they get to also make less money, and they're going to have to come out of pocket for that, because that's usually what happens. They're also going to have to cover other expenses, specifically as it relates to things like the not just the small maintenance, but also supplies. And they're going to have a ton of accountability and questions every month. And that's a relationship and that I have found can become unwieldy. Meaning, when you have a low month, you know why, you understand why, but they're going to be all up in your business. Like, why didn't we make more money this month? And you're going to have to explain that to them every month. Now, in my head, a property management company that has 10, 15, 20, 30 different landlords is going to quickly tire of that conversation. There's no way. I can't see it happening. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Because here's the other side of that coin. When they take on so many different properties and from so many different landlords, they never, ever, ever run as efficiently as you know how to. Period. They don't. Because they have to do small little things to keep their cleaning crews efficient, and they can never manage the revenue properly. I promise you, they have never considered whom do you want to serve. That they can't.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. It's about putting bodies indoors. Yeah.
That's all it becomes about. And what ends up happening, and this is, again, all of these are reasons why the property owner under this promise oftentimes ends up earning the same they would have gotten from market rent. It sounds great on the front end, but I've not seen it pan out for them on the back end. I've just not. Because you as the operator end up operating and working under such stress, and you as the operator start working under such stressful conditions that I don't know how. I don't want that responsibility. I don't want that accountability from the landlord. I don't even want to set the expectation that, hey, you're going to get rich off of me and do this. It's just not going to work.
Sorry, I'm not sure how to help.
Yeah, and Siri's right. Or whatever.
Google. That was
Google.
Yeah. I'm like, what happened? Who triggered you? Did you get my point?
I do. I do get that point.
So
that was
you're not going to ever compete 1-to-1. You're competing on something other than top line imaginary numbers that don't actually pan out. That's the difference. You are fundamentally, philosophically different. They can take the risk. And I'm not saying there aren't going to be some months where they're going to make out and be like, ooh, this is great. But it has been my experience more often than not, that's not what happens. That's just not what happens. When you compare apples to apples, predictable money has been better. Because you when they understand how the operator has to operate, especially to achieve scale, they're gonna be dealing with it's like the retail store that tries to be an online retail store but has 200 different items and you can only buy one. It's like it's too hard to manage that inventory, and that's what ends up happening in this particular situation. So it's a long way of saying, John, it's something that's only going to get borne out over time. In the same way that I just sat on the sidelines and collected houses while people were flashing their $80,000, $150,000, $20,000 checks, I just, okay, good, do it again, because they had to keep doing it again. and you're just going to sit there steady Eddie. You know what? I hear you, but that's not what we do. Here's how we do it. Here's why we do what we do, because we have found it to be more predictable, more sustainable, longer term. We run a better business. Our clients are happier. Our guests are happier. And if you're looking for consistent, predictable income, that's what I can do. If you want to take the ride, take the ride. Go for it. Knock yourself out. But I'm not your guy for that. That's how I would approach it. That's how I do approach it. Now, there's one exception to this rule.
Okay.
When we're talking a high-end house, right? When we're talking a high-end house whose furniture I would never want to buy, own, or control, then we're talking something completely different. Because now I want them to contribute to the expense. Yeah, by all means, come on in here. You know, I want that. I want that participation, because that's lowering my risk, and I'm likely to be able to deliver a better service. I don't typically have the same resources and scale of service providers to be able to handle that as efficiently. And if they've already gone through the trouble of decorating this higher end home, that I can, you know, and in my head, that means, you know, your $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 a week home. Yeah, I'm okay with that's different. But that's not what I don't think that's what you and I are talking about right now.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So, but that's how I compete. I just help them understand the business model. Their business model, to me, seems to be significantly more unreliable for the income. Whereas I'm going to guarantee you a certain amount, and that risk is all on me. If I get it right, great. If I fail, great. You got the same number. Either way, and you know what you're going to get. They don't suddenly, I mean, there's just so much extra expense. Just the accounting work alone is not going to be something that they're going to want to keep doing. But, you know, what do I know?
No, I think that's perfect. That really helped. Thank you.
Yep. As always, been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Go out there and crush it. And I know it feels a little tough right now. I've had the same challenges. And those of you who are grabbing the recordings, get them done now. Get them done now, because obviously it makes it easier for us to get them to you faster. And then at the end of the day, we thank you for the opportunity to influence you in whatever ways that we've been able to do so. And, well, we look forward to talking to you again soon. Until next time.